what is the nervous system? Alan, could you maybe start us off with what is the nervous system?
Well, actually, I think the nervous system is the paradigm that right now we understand things through. And I say right now because 200 years ago, they had no idea that there was a nervous system. Everything was talked about in relation to spirit. And I actually wonder in 200 years from now, will they laugh at us and go, they thought they had a nervous system, and they'll be seeing things in a completely different way. And yet, the value of it, of course, is that it's a way that we can both construct and understand some of the phenomena that we see, learn about, imagine. And the thing about our nervous system that I think is really important to understand is how little we still understand. I mean, it's in the years that I've been doing this work, the ideas of the nervous system, ideas that were true 35 years ago, are still true, but they take a much smaller place in the bigger picture of what our nervous system is. And maybe at some point later I can talk. One of the things I'm interested in is what's the actual event in the nervous system that happens in a Feldenkrais lesson.
What is it? Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I'm glad I asked it. Okay. So, because people ask me all the time, what's actually happening in the nervous system during a lesson? And I go, honestly, I don't know. I can give you lots of ideas and theories about things. And when I think of what happens for me in a lesson neurologically, I keep returning to one basic phenomena that's not described scientifically. For example, Feldenkrais is often described as a neurological event. Many articles will talk about it that way. But then I started to ask the question, what's not a neurological event? If we're a nervous system, everything is. So what's the difference in the neurological event of a Feldenkrais lesson and anything else, whether it's another modality or activity or whatever? And I keep returning to one thing, that it's an aesthetically pleasing experience for me, the practitioner, and an aesthetically pleasing experience for the person who's getting the lesson or doing the lesson. And when I think of it that way, I don't have to go into all kinds of I like the complicated science. I think it's really interesting. But in terms of what am I actually doing, that to me is the thing that I can relate to the most, and my students relate to the most as well.
So nervous system, when we think of the nervous system, perhaps we can think of our self-image. It's like who we are. And it's too simple to think about it in terms of input-output. It's much more of a dynamic system. So we're dynamic systems, and we're interacting with other people, so practitioner, student, or the world around us. And our nervous system is making sense, literally, about what's taking place. So the senses are being ignited. So in a way, we could think of ourselves sort of like a beaming light board. And depending on what's happening in the environment, we're lighting up inside. So touch is happening. Co-regulation happens like a dance, a tango dance. Communication, verbal, nonverbal. How much light is in the room? Whether or not there is a sound taking place outside of the room. We also have our nervous system reporting to us in that moment based on our past experiences. And one of the beautiful things about the Feldenkrais method is that it keeps us in the present moment because of the sensory stimulation and the excitement of learning. So the more we engage in the Feldenkrais method and movement and interaction with others, the more present we actually are and feel. So the nervous system is in charge of all of that. And we know now, because of the science in the neuroplastic field, that our nervous systems are always responding and changing. So if we go with what Alan said, and we're creating these very pleasurable, connected experiences with our students and ourselves, that begins to be the new norm for people. It's kind of mindfulness training through movement, is really understanding what you're feeling and what you're sensing.